With a lot of popular hairstyles incorporating braiding, I thought it'd be important to show you a video where you can troubleshoot some issues that might arise. For example, if you have lower hair density, I'm gonna show you a technique today that can make your hair still look nice and full while it's being braided. The first thing that I'm gonna use is a bit of hairspray. I have some combs and brushes today, some bobby pins, and most importantly, I'm gonna be using a mini crimper. And the mini crimper is going to create volume in Lindsay's hair, and it can also be used for anyone that feels like they can't backcomb their hair. Because with some hairstyles, like in braiding, you can't backcomb because it's too hard to move the hair into a braided shape. This mini crimper that I'm using has just been ordered from Amazon, and it's Hot Tools. And it's important that you get the mini crimp and not the regular crimper, because the mini crimper expands the hair a lot more than just a regular crimper will do. Now, you don't have to crimp everything, because if you were to, it would take too long, but you want to put crimping wherever you want to see volume. So I'm gonna skip past the very front hairline. However, with a mini crimp, it's very hard to see from far away. So if you felt like it looked too flat at the very front, you could crimp there as well. So I'm just gonna crimp and then leave the ends. And so when I lay that hair against the rest of Lindsay's, you can see how it's added a little bit of volume. The mini crimp has added just enough volume to Lindsay's hair. The next step is our sectioning. So I'm going to be creating 3 braids, and because they're French braids and they're close to the scalp, the crimping is just gonna add enough volume that we need. So I'm gonna come along to the side here. The first section that I'm gonna take begins at the recession, and it goes to the crown of the head. Now, what can happen is you can get really strong partings that can be unsightly. From here, what I'll do is I'll weave. So I'm going to go up and down, and it's a little different than a zigzag parting. And I'm just gonna keep half of it to the top section, and then this hair will go to the bottom section. And I'm gonna do that along to the back. So first, just creating a straight parting and then weaving. You'll notice that I didn't mini crimp all the way towards the back because it's not necessary. I don't need to create extra volume at the back of the head, just really through the top and sides. And then I'm going to clip this side out of the way for now, and then do the same on the opposite side. Starting at the top, I'm gonna begin to braid. And I'm doing a French braid technique. So weaving the hair over. And just using enough tension that the braid stays in place, but not too much tension that it flattens out the crimping that I've put in. So I'm just using my fingers to pick up the hair and checking in the mirror every now and then to make sure that I'm not losing the volume that I've created. I'm also making sure that along the parting, that this area keeps with a high density look. So I'm making sure that the pieces that I'm picking up, that it remains zigzagged. I'm just doing the same thing all the way down towards the bottom. So as I get towards the bottom, I'm going to continue my French braid, but then at the very end, I'm going to transition into a fishtail. And you'll also notice that there's no mini crimping in the back, and that's so that the proportions will just look nice and full at the very top and then sit nice and tight towards the back of the head. Now, if your density was lower throughout the whole head, you could do the mini crimping all the way through. You could also mini crimp from roots to ends for additional expansion in the hair. Now with the last couple of sections, that's going to have me finish my French braid. And once I do that, I'm gonna now transition into a fishtail. So for a fishtail, I'm just gonna take a small piece from the outside edge and I'm gonna place it into the center. Fishtails also tend to look best when they're done nice and loose. So making sure that when you're tying your fishtail that you're not using too much tension. And Lindsay has nice highlights in her hair, so you can see a lot of the detail. If you have darker hair types and you want to see more texture, just make sure that you've used a lot of shine products. That's going to help have the texture picked up a bit. And before I tie it off, I just want to make sure that I've loosened the fishtail enough. So I'm just going to use a clear elastic to tie that off. And I'm going to continue the exact same way on the sides. So then once again, dividing the hair so that I have two pieces and then creating a fishtail. Before I finish the look, I just want to make sure that the little pieces that I've dropped out are curled or just nicely formed around Lindsay's face. And you can even see where there is a little bit of the mini crimp that you actually can't see it on the hair at all, especially after it's been slightly curled. Now to complete the hairstyle, I'm gonna take the center braid and I'm just gonna roll it onto itself. And then using a small bobby pin, I'm gonna pin on both sides. Then taking one of my braids, I'm gonna stretch it across and just tuck under. Then if you like, for a further detail, you can just pull out any little pieces of hair that are gonna be little wisps along the neck and curling those pieces as well. A nice amount of hairspray throughout the whole hairstyle. But you can see how mini crimping creates so much volume, and then also this really soft kind of weaving section also eliminates any unnecessary partings along the hair.